Well, the first thing to correct is I didn't come up with the idea.
Ah, okay.
My beautiful wife, Julie, suggested the idea to me. We were just sharing family time. I think we were all sitting on the couch watching TV or something. And out of the blue, she suddenly says, "Why don't you get a bunch of people you love and sing your songs?" And for some reason, that went directly in. I mean, I understood that as a fun, really creative thing. It wasn't some like career move thing that some agent calls you up and say, "Hey, I got this guy," that kind of thing. It was my wife saying, the artists that you love, John, and there are a bunch of them, and the idea of making new music, of creating, because I like to play. The song is sort of the vehicle, but I like to play. I'm a musician, and most of the people that I tend to really admire are also that way. A lot of them write songs. I think most of the people on this record write their own songs. Yeah. So it came about that way. I mean, that was how my brain processed what Julie said to me. So we talked about it a little bit, and over time I started calling people that, some of whom I knew, and a lot of them I didn't know yet, but I admired their music. And one of the first things I would say, I'd ask if they'd like to record with me. This was kind of the concept. And then when they said yes, then I said, "All right, I want you to pick a song." And I don't know why I did that. I'm not really sure why that seemed like the thing to do. I'm really glad that's what happened, though, because what it really ended up being is that person already started down the road toward their idea, right? And so once they had picked the song, then I said, "All right, it'd be great if you think about that and have an arrangement, have an idea. And, we'll talk again. I'll call you up or whatever, however we were corresponding. And we'll communicate about this before we ever go in a studio and kind of get a, direction." And what that really meant to me was that I was off in that person's personality. We were flying on their wings, as it were. I know when I talked with Keith Urban months and months before we ever got in the studio, we were talking about the song Almost Saturday Night, and he said, "Well, I kind of see sort of an organic thing." And I said, "Wow, that sounds interesting." I said, "Well, Keith," I had seen Keith a few times live in concert. Yeah. And I said, "Keith, you always play that banjo. Not everybody realizes you're playing a banjo. Mm-hmm. It's on a lot of his records, but they don't realize he's the guy." I said, "Be sure you bring that banjo, And that turned out to be a real winner, because in the studio, I mean, he laid down some stuff that was, for one thing, when I finally went in and watched what he was doing, because he was sitting in a little booth for sound protection, and he was doing all that picking. Most people play banjo with several fingers. Yeah, that's how you get that piston engine thing going. Mm-hmm. And he was doing it all with a flat pick.
Wow. Really?
So it was really interesting. So
you have a couple of people on that record though that you knew very, very well, so well that they're your children. Yeah. How did that happen?
Well, we got kind of down the road with the idea. We had been probably working on this for a year, maybe. Had quite a few artists recorded. It still meant that I had to go back and kind of process each recording. In other words, it wasn't usually done all finished. That artist part was done, and whatever they were going to play musically was done. But then if I needed some background vocals, or if I needed some kind of little solo or something, that came about later. Mm-hmm. And as the record began to take shape, I could see that this was really special. Mm-hmm. Certainly in my own career. This is something like this may not happen again. And my two boys have a band together, and they've been playing together, with various folks. Right now they've settled on a few other guys they're playing with. They've been doing this for many years, and the idea kind of came to me and my wife that, you know, it'd be really cool if there was a way they could play something. And so they picked the song, as happened in most cases. They picked the song Lodi.
Yeah.
They originally had kind of a folk rock version of Lodi, kind of, I would call it kind of soft. The boys are huge fans of Fleet Foxes, if you happen to know who they are. I love them too, but my song, I had always pictured if I was ever going to do that one again, I wanted that.
Yeah.
And so I kind of used that, what do you call that? I had a longer straw, and I kind of,
You won.
Yeah.
It's your song, you won.